Good morning, sweetheart. It's lovely to see you. And it's very nice to be out here, but I'm wearing my hat and it's chilly because the wind is coming from the south, and south here isn't too far from Antarctica, so even in summer it's a bit cold. So anyway, but it's nice out here, so I'm going to show you the flowers. And we're going to start with the thing that I can smell, which is this fantastic Leucalia. Look at this, Mike. It is lovely to see you. Look at all the flowers. They're just beautiful, and the air is perfumed. Carrie-Ann, it's great to see you. Look at this. Let's see if we can get some focus. There you go. You can see the detail there. They're beautiful flowers. They belong on wedding cakes, really. And they smell so good. And I've got them mixed up with the Japanese anemones, so there's nothing missing. Good morning, Andrew. Good morning, Robin. Good morning, beautiful beings. It is lovely to share this with you. Look at all the anemones. They're like waves. It's because they've actually fallen over because they got dry and then it's rained and been cold, so now they're standing up again. And really, this is the highlight of the summer garden, is the summer Leucalia, which is just fabulous. And I'm standing here enjoying the scent. I don't really want to move. But now you can see, it's this big cluster of flowers, and they don't all come out at once, right? But the overall effect is just beautiful. It's this, scattering of blossom. And the smell, the smell's so good. And look, the willow gentian is very close to blooming, so that is lovely. And the red foliage is interesting. I can only assume it's gone red because there's more light here than there was, because the cherry tree was pruned. And yeah, the roses are kind of tail end, but they're still beautiful, even as they age. There's a different kind of beauty about roses as they age. And we have the fuchsia, which we've really been enjoying. Get up closer. So, it's just... The summer garden's always a bit scruffy. It's sort of bits and pieces, but I still enjoy it. And look, this is one of the reasons I like this white thalictrum so much, because of what the foliage does. I know it's only it's a herbaceous perennial, but it's just beautiful. Fall foliage in the summer. And we've still got wild coriander, which is making seeds. Look at that. There will be no shortage of coriander here next year. And the flowers themselves are really very beautiful. And there's a big foxglove there, which, well, I need to cut down, I guess, because it's just about finished. But, there's still a few flowers. Good morning, Julian. Through the fence you can see our neighbour's cute little dog. There you are. That's Watson saying hello to the world. But I won't attract his attention. And there's more coriander. And the dahlias are looking really nice because the flowers have come out. I'll just walk over here. And they're not faded by the sun yet. So they're really bright because it hasn't been sunny for the last little while. And you can see the lilies are sort of done over there. So what else have we got? The very last... these are a bit tired because they've been rained on. The very last of my mother's gladiolus. Sorry, I'll try and get this right. And I say it's my mother's gladiolus because this is one that grew and that, it was actually bred. It's a crossbreed, this one. Morning, Jen! And I've never seen it anywhere else. It's a cross between a species gladiolus and something else that was flowering at the time. And of course, Maria Callas is still fabulous. It's a beautiful rose. It smells good. And look, there are more coming. So, okay, let me get to today's topic. I can't remember really what I was thinking about when I decided on today's topic, but really it applies to the whole thing of stuff that just doesn't change. And why is my life still like this? Why, after all this work that I've done on myself and my world and everything else, is stuff no different? Morning, Finn! It's lovely to see from you. What's the deal with this stuff that just doesn't freaking change in my life? And the deal is that what I have in my life is a direct reflection of and creation by me. And if I've still got something I don't want, it's because somehow I'm still a resonant match for it. You know, quantum physics, like attracts like, entangled particles, the whole 9 yards. This is what I find to be true. There's a lot of science about it. It's not just some hairy-fairy New Age concept. It's actually how it works. And so, somehow, not having my dreams come true, not having what I want, has become who I think I am. And I've got so used to it, I don't know how to be anybody else. And that's the core thought that I want to explore. Because we have this identity of the person who just can't make money. That was me. And I'm still moving out of that one, but it's no longer who I say I am or feel I am anymore. And that's real progress, trust me. We become the person who's always sick. We become the person whose significant other is always sick. Oh, there's a pattern of that in my family, believe me. And because it's not like that now, because it's changed, it is so interesting when it's not downright, oh my God, awful, recognising how much I keep expecting to go back the way it was. In other words, how unfamiliar it is to me that everything's fine. It's been my identity for 20 years that my beloved had things that we had to deal with. And now that he doesn't, it's so interesting observing how much when's it going to go, when is the next shoe going to drop, right? When is the next brick going to fall? And of course, I've got to stop being that person because I'm a powerful creator. And if I keep on fearing that he's going to get sick again, you bet your bottom frickin' dollar he will. Because I'm powerful. And we're quantumly entangled. And, he's part of my life and I'm part of his and all of that. So, again, this is real for me now. I'm not speaking like a stained glass window. This is, something that I face. So what's your identity? What's the right question I'm trying to ask? When somebody, or when you ask yourself, what sort of a person are you? Or when you make those, I am a blah, blah, blah person, what do you say? Oh, I'm a shy person. I'm not a very creative person. I can't do maths. I can't do whatever. Or I always this. What is your assumed, unconscious, never question it, this is who I am identity? What do you always say about yourself that you don't even notice? That you say, think, believe, behave, do, feel all the time. Oh, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. My thoughts don't matter. Whatever I say, people are going to look at me like I'm mad. I can't find the people that think, believe, will appreciate what I have to say, even if they think differently from me. Maybe there are people around who are just curious and open to ideas and conversation. We have these identities. I had this about myself because I was this weird spiritual person who didn't kind of fit into anything. And it's like, nobody's going to get what I have to say. And I had to get over that and realise there were a lot of people who were going to get what I was going to say. That was a long time ago. But that was my identity. It was who I thought I was. And as long as we keep on thinking we are somebody who can't X or doesn't Y or isn't Z, well, that's how it's going to be. Hi, Heather! It's gorgeous to see you. If we're someone who says, I always find this difficult, this is always hard for me, you're making a statement about who you are. That is your identity. Now, what is your identity? Let's get a little bit of neuroscience right now. Every time you have an experience, both pregnancies fun. Oh, yay. My woolen hat is from Linda Gaylord. She did a great job. And I'm so grateful. They're part of my screen identity, okay? Everybody associates me with these hats. I love them. So, identity. Every time you have an experience, one that's memorable, either a little bit or a lot, but it's memorable enough that your brain perks up and pays attention, takes notice, then it gathers all the sensory information that's going on and it records it in the neural connections in your brain, and there's chemistry that goes with that, right? And if you recall the memory, like the memory of giving birth, and then you have the child, and then and then you have all these experiences that come after the child, and there is a massive neural net in every mother's head about that child. Because every experience you have makes another neural connection. And so your brain, literally, the architecture of a brain, literally represents the experiences that you have had that have actually made a neurological and chemical impact on you with every person and thing and experience and situation in your life. That's what happens. So already your experiences have shaped the architecture of your brain. Now, the baseline you inherited from your parents and your ancestors, and you also inherited it from, the umpteen gazillion generations of humans before you, and the evolutionary system and all of that, how we got here to have these brains. So there's nature and there's nurture. But all of those neural connections that get built from the minute you're born become your identity. And we think that's who we are. So if, for example, and I'm just thinking of a story that I've watched on Joe Dispenza's testimonial reel. You are a mother and you have a child that has a terrible genetic illness, for example. So the minute they're born, there is the stress, and there is the worry, and there is the, is my child going to survive, and all of that, right? So that neural net around that child is full of all that stuff, can't help it. And it becomes part of your identity. I am a mother of a child with special needs. I am the mother of a child with special needs. It becomes your identity, and you shape your world around it. And of course you have to, right? Your child has special needs. But what happens is, and the story I'm thinking of is this woman who had a child with special needs, right? And it became her identity. And what happened was, the child was really sick. It was just awful. It was really painful. It was really difficult to watch. And it was, watching this poor little baby screaming in pain and all of that stuff. Really hard. But the child didn't get better until the mother overcame her identity and how she was being about the fact that she'd been through all that really traumatic and difficult experience. She had to overcome her own identity about it, and then the child got better. All by himself. It was a significant healing. If you don't believe me, drop me a message somewhere and I'll find it and send you the link. It's for real. This happens. So, like me with my husband, if I continue to fear that he's going to get injured again, well, then he will. Because I'm creating my reality. If I allow my identity to be about that, it will be about that. So, remember all of those neural connections that I had in my brains for the 15, 20 years of difficulty, because he had a significant accident more than 2 decades ago, became my identity. And now that it's finally no longer what my life is significantly about, I have to change that identity. And we just don't notice it often until something changes. And I didn't actually put a lot of effort into, consciously creating myself as the person who doesn't have this challenge anymore. But I'm having to do it now. Because if I don't, you can guarantee my life will go back to being the way it was. We get really used to not having our dreams come true. My entire life, I was so accustomed to not having enough money and feeling that earning money meant, hard work, not doing anything you enjoy and getting paid a pittance. And I am still overcoming aspects of that identity because it was so drilled into me, not by anybody in particular and not by lack, right? I did not grow up in poverty, but there was poverty mindset. That's been my identity. I've got to become the person who isn't like that if I want something else to happen. So that me, who is financially abundant enough to accomplish what I want to accomplish, and it is mostly about service. Yeah, there's some things for me, but it's mostly about service, is a future version of myself. But do I know who I am in that future? Well, to some degree I do, because I've been working that out and I've been becoming that person. I'm starting to live and breathe and talk and think and behave like that person sometimes. And the more I become my future self, it's like that future self that I'm still getting to know is in my future saying, come on, Maddie, come on. Come over to here to where I am. Come and be me. Change your identity. Change your thinking. Change your speaking. Change your doing. Change your believing. Change how you feel until you feel like me. And the more I do that, the more that future self and me are getting closer. We're getting better acquainted. And it's not just that I am getting better acquainted with my future self. I mean, that all sounds very good, wonderful. I'm glad you know who you are in your future, Maddie. But what also happens is that as I become more like that future self, my life becomes more like the life that future self is living. And that's absolutely happening. Step by step as I become that person. And, I told you recently, it's come as a complete shock to me that my beloved is now taking a chunk of my work off my shoulders. And it's Wednesday morning here, right? I get Wednesday mornings off now. Last night, yesterday, I had all my work done before dinner. I had a free evening. That didn't happen for the last, I don't know how long it's been. And it's happening quite a lot this year because of the way the work's changed, and and I can't quite believe it because I'm still not really that person who, much to my astonishment, has manifested time freedom without yet having financial freedom. Which is just so unexpected, and the universe is laughing at me. Because, of course, we all think, you need the money before you'll get your time. Will you? Do you? Who says, how do you know? If I insist, I've got to show you this. So you've got a pussycat up here. If I insist that, it's got to come in a way that I can plan, I've got to make this much money and then I'll be time free. But no, it never occurred to me to think that my beloved might get to a stage where he would just say, okay, I'll do most of the work now for that particular client, and you can, have time. It just never occurred to me, completely in front of my face, out of the blue. It's ridiculous, because it wasn't my identity to think about it, but I've done enough work becoming my future self that this change made it to me anyway. And now I'm having to adapt to it and go, oh my God, really? I can trust this? This is how my life is going to stay. The next brick is not going to fall and make it all, explode into pieces again. See, I've got to change the identity that expects it to break. So becoming this future self is much more than having your dreams come true. You then got to be the person who expects that it stays like that, who revels in it, who feels safe in it. Oh my God, I had to do so much work in the last little while just to feel safe in my life, because it's all unfamiliar and it's lovely, but there's this nagging thing in the background that says, oh no, you can't trust this. You can't trust this. You have to stay in control. You have to be hyper vigilant. You have to look out for the next thing that's going to go wrong. It's like, no, I've got to stop being that person. So just be aware that there is this process that as you get closer to your future self, you have to willfully and consciously be aware when your old self comes up and kind of smacks you in the face and says, hey, come back here. You're going somewhere unknown, and that's scary and dangerous. You really have to be aware of this and realise this is the process. Oh, and I think, is that rain? No, it's just wind. Isn't that a beautiful sound? It is getting grey here. It might rain later, but it's not raining yet. So, you got to know who your future self is. Even a little bit. And here's the thing, like when the child is born, you don't know who that child is. You're a blank slate. Their potential. I mean, from what I know of mothers, because I'm no babies myself, by choice, every child very quickly asserts a basic personality. They just come in, this way or that way. But there's so much that's unknown about that personality and that child and how they're going to grow and what they're going to be interested in. And it's the same with your future self. It's a process of getting to know and becoming and letting go of who you've been. It's like, imagine, it is starting to rain, imagine if you have been paraplegic for 10 years and suddenly your legs start to work again, just out of the blue, right? Imagine what that would be like, trying to get to trust them and feel safe. Oh my God, this is real, and what's it like being able to walk again, and how do I balance? And there's a whole learning process in becoming a new self. And so I guess I wanted to share a little bit of that with you, but really it's to say that if your dreams aren't coming true, it's because you're not the self that is living those dreams. And as you become that self and start living those dreams, they will find you and they will surprise the heck out of you. If they're anything like my experience. The way this magic happens, it's going to come from somewhere you can't predict. Because if you could predict it, as Joe Dispenza says, it's the known. And what you know hasn't got you where you wanted to go, right? So you're going to have to go somewhere else. And that's the unknown. And it's going to surprise you. But in a pretty lovely way. And then you just have to get used to the fact that you created magic. And who are you now? So, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you so much for sharing with me. I would love to know your thoughts. I'd love to know your responses. I'd love to know if you think, oh, but this. But this. I'd like to know what that is so I can address it in a future life. Because I love answering questions. Big love. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.